Hi. Today I want to talk about how to stop sinning. I want to talk about 3 verses that combined together give us the secret on how we actually stop sinning, what happens in our thoughts, in our hearts, what actually happens that makes someone stop sinning, stop smoking, stop fornicating, give up an addiction, give up bad vocabulary. So let's look at these 3 verses together. The first one is in John 8, in verse 11. Jesus says to her, he says to the woman, I don't condemn you, go and sin no more. Go and sin no more. The second verse is when Jesus silenced the storm, and he said to the storm, he said, be still. And then calm immediately followed. So the elements listened to Jesus' commands. And the third verse that I want to talk about is the one that says that he who is in me is stronger than he who is in the world. So what brings these 3 verses together? It's the authority of Jesus. Jesus said to the storm, be still, and it was still. And he who is in me is stronger than he who is in the world. Excuse the bird, but he's happy. He who is in me is stronger than he who is in the world. Because we have 2 different levels of reality. We have the reality of the flesh, and we have the spirit. And we are called to live by the spirit, of course. But what makes the spirit overcome the flesh? It's the authority of Jesus. Because he has authority over all things, he also has authority over our flesh whenever we give him this authority and when we give him this rightful place in our hearts. And then we are enabled to live by the spirit, and then we overcome the flesh. But all of this is done when we operate from the authority of Jesus, the authority by which he crucified sin on the cross and then he rose again. Because he rose again, we have authority over the flesh. So now it starts to make sense. And then the thing that I was thinking about is that when Jesus told the woman, go and sin no more, just bear with me for 1 more minute. When he said, go and sin no more, was he just, what was it? Was it advice or was it a command? Where was he speaking from? So when I put this passage next to the other passage about the storm, he said to the storm, be still. And it was still. And he said to the woman, go and sin no more. And so then what happens? So what happened was that the woman, she accepted Jesus' authority in her life. So when he gave the command to stop sinning, her flesh submitted. It's because she gave him the authority, and his authority was over all other authorities, including the authority of the flesh. And so when Jesus tells us to stop sinning, he's not advising. He's speaking something into existence. How did God create the world? He spoke it into existence. How does God say prophecies and then they come true? Why do they come true? Because he spoke them into existence. So when Jesus spoke to the woman, go and sin no more, it was a command. It was not a suggestion. It was not advice. Of course, if Jesus told me go and sin no more, and then after a while I would choose to remove his authority from my life and to remove his crown from my heart. He's not the king of my heart anymore. He's not the king of my actions and of my decisions anymore. And then I would start sinning again. I'm not speaking this over myself, but I'm just saying, then the authority is taken away. And then the flesh would start battling the spirit again and maybe winning. But otherwise, he who is in me is stronger than he who is in the world by his authority. So when Jesus speaks something, it will happen. His word does not come back to him void. And so I love that because it makes me feel like, it moves weight off of our shoulders. Like we're not supposed to do this on our own. It's by the Spirit that we do that. It's not by might nor by power. And in that case, I would add, nor by willpower. It's not by my willpower that I can stop sinning. It's by grace. It's by the authority of Jesus. When he says, go and sin no more. Sin no more. He's speaking this command into my life. He's speaking it onto my flesh. He's not just saying it. He's speaking it onto my flesh. And when he spoke the thing, and then I was able to give up smoking, I was able to give up any other thing that I wanted to give up, that I felt that I was struggling with. Because he is king. He is Lord over my heart and over my flesh. This is how the Spirit subdues the flesh. And so this is the secret. And when a new believer would ask me, but how am I even going to give this up? I've been doing this for years. This is what we should answer. We should answer that it's not by your strength. Don't worry, he's got you. You just believe in him. You just give him his rightful title in your life. Give him to be king over your heart. And then he will be stronger than your flesh. He will be in you, and he will be stronger than he was in the world. He will be stronger than your temptation. He will be stronger than your past. He will tell the storm, be still, and it will be still. He will tell you, sin no more, and you will sin no more. It's with authority that he speaks it. He is stronger than your sin. He is stronger than your past. He is stronger than whatever you are battling right now. He's stronger than your thoughts. He's stronger than your strongholds. There is no stronghold that he cannot destroy and pull down. There is no high place that he cannot pull down. Knowing him will bring down everything that moves us away from him. So this was a big revelation to me. And it's really relieving. I mean, I know that we all know that it's by the Spirit. It's not by might nor by power that we do things. But when we see them in this way that Jesus is speaking with authority, he's telling us to stop doing that. With the authority we've given him, though. It's important, this key is important, that we must really give him the authority. We must confess it with our tongue, but we must also confess it with our actions. For example, I can say, Jesus, I've given you authority over all things in my life, but then I would go and make decisions without asking him, without acknowledging him. It's written, acknowledge him in all things. So if I don't acknowledge him, then I'm confessing his authority, but I'm not really applying this confession with my actions. So, of course, we have to measure this word. We have to measure the different facets of it. And we have to confess Christ as King in our lives in all the areas, not just with our mouth. But this is where it starts. And so that's it. That's what I wanted to share. And I hope this brings clarity and it brings new insight. May we learn from Jesus' obedience. May we learn to submit to the will of the Father. And may we learn to take our position and to take our authority that he has given us upon believing in him. And may we apply it. May we leave all things behind that don't serve the kingdom and don't serve us.